Okay, so you're about to have a baby. Congrats. But have you stepped into a baby store lately?
It can definitely be overwhelming.
It's like a million different swings and things that light up and socks that track your baby's like oxygen levels or
Well, I
something.
know, right? Everyone tells you, oh, you need this, you need that. But how do you know what's actually essential versus just clever marketing?
Right. Like, do I really need a wipe warmer? Asking for a friend. But seriously, that's what we're here for. In this deep dive, we're going to break down a blog post we found called Top 5 Must-Have Smart Baby Products for 2024. It's from a website called swing2sleep.com, which, side note, already makes me tired just talking about it.
And I'm here to bring the evidence. We'll unpack the science behind these products and help you figure out what might actually be helpful, what's potentially unnecessary, and what to watch out for.
Perfect, because my brain is officially fried from reading too many baby product reviews. So let's jump right in. This blog wastes no time hitting us with something every sleep-deprived new parent craves: peace of mind, in the form of the Nanit Pro camera.
Ah, yes, the Nanit Pro. It's definitely one of the more high-tech baby monitors out there.
It's got all the bells and whistles, breathing monitoring, two-way communication. I swear it can practically change a diaper from across the room. Okay, maybe not that last one. But seriously, is all this tech actually good for the baby? Or just our anxiety as parents?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? On one hand, it's completely natural to want to keep a close eye on our little ones, especially during those first few vulnerable months. And for some parents, the reassurance a monitor like this provides can be invaluable.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're someone who tends to, worry.
Exactly. But there's another side to consider, which is that for some parents, especially those who are already prone to anxiety, this constant monitoring can actually increase stress levels.
How so?
Well, when you're able to see and hear every little wiggle and sigh,
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in interpreting those as problems, even if they're totally normal baby behaviors.
It's like when you get a new car and suddenly you hear every squeak and rattle.
Exactly. So it's really about finding that balance between staying informed and not becoming hypervigilant to the point where it's counterproductive.
So you're saying it depends on the parent, like their personality, their anxiety levels, that kind of thing.
Precisely. And there's also the baby's individual needs to consider. If a family has a history of certain medical conditions, or if the baby is born prematurely or has other health concerns, a monitor with advanced features like the Nanit can be incredibly helpful, even life-saving in some cases.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about, oh, I want to see my baby sleeping. It's about having that extra layer of monitoring when there are legitimate medical concerns. Okay, so not just peace of mind, but actual, medically backed peace of mind in some cases.
And even beyond specific medical needs, if a high-tech monitor helps a parent relax and sleep better themselves, that's a win. Because a well-rested parent is a better parent, right?
100%. Okay, speaking of sleep, or the lack thereof, this next product promises to be a game changer for those early days and nights when all your baby wants to do is be rocked.
Let me guess. Are we talking about the Swing 2 Sleep Motor Baby Hammock?
You know it. The blog even jokes about how you can't keep swinging your baby in your arms forever. Believe me, I've tried. And honestly, as someone with very real arm muscles that get tired, I feel that in my soul. But are these motorized swings really the magical solution they're marketed to be?
Well, let's be real. Who hasn't wished for an extra set of arms when they've been bouncing a baby for hours?
Yeah.
And that gentle swaying motion can be incredibly soothing for infants. It's like a universal calm down signal.
It's true. It's like they magically sense that swaying equals sleepy time.
Exactly. But like any baby product, there are potential downsides to consider.
Oh, there are always downsides, aren't there? Lay it on me.
One concern is that babies can become overly reliant on movement to fall asleep. So if they get used to always being rocked or bounced, they might have a harder time settling down in a stationary crib or bassinet later on.
So it's about finding that balance between soothing them and inadvertently creating a sleep glut.
Exactly. And it's something to be mindful of, especially as they get older and develop those independent sleep skills.
Okay, that makes sense. Because as tempting as it is to never let them out of the swing, we do want them to learn to sleep on their own eventually. And our arms need a break. All right, so that's sleep, hopefully tackled. Now let's dive into something every parent dreads, those inevitable baby sniffles. And this blog, bless its heart, keeps it real. They recommend the Nosafrida, which, I'll be honest, looked a little terrifying at first glance,
It definitely has a unique design.
to put it mildly, but apparently it's a cult favorite among parents. So what's the deal with this thing? Is it hype? Or is it genuinely helpful? And maybe, like, start with what it even is, because I'm still a little fuzzy on the details.
You're not alone in your initial reaction to the nose of Frida. It definitely raises some eyebrows at first. But let's start with the basics. Babies, as adorable as they are basically tiny germ magnets, right?
Yeah, they love to grab everything in sight, especially faces.
Exactly. And unlike us, they haven't quite mastered the art of blowing their noses. That's where nasal aspirators come in. They help clear those stuffy noses, which is especially important for infants because they're primarily nose breathers.
Wait, really? They breathe mostly through their noses? I never even thought about that.
They do. So a stuffy nose can be really uncomfortable for them, making it harder to sleep, eat, and just be content little humans.
That makes a lot of sense. So this nose Frida thing helps with that. But what makes it different from the classic blue bulb syringe? Those have been around forever.
They have, and they definitely have their place. But some parents find them a little trickier to control the suction with. The Nosafrida is a manual suction aspirator, meaning you're using your own breath to create the suction to gently remove the mucus.
Okay, that makes more sense now, but are there downsides to using something like that?
The most important thing is to use it gently and hygienically. You don't want to be too rough with those little noses. Too much suction can irritate their delicate nasal passages. And always, always, always make sure to clean it really well according to the manufacturer's instructions.
Yeah, hygiene is key. You
Yeah.
can see how that would be important with a device that's, getting up close and personal with baby boogers. All right, so we've tackled sleep and snot. Let's move on to something that's both practical and, let's be honest, adorable baby wearing.
There's nothing quite like those baby snuggles.
Exactly. And this blog recommends the Nigel Baby Wrap Biscotti. They make a big deal about how easy it is to use, which, full disclosure, I need. Because those super long wraps with like 18 different straps and buckles.
I know, it's like trying to solve a puzzle while you've got a tiny human squirming in your arms.
Right. It's intimidating. But I'm all for anything that simplifies the process. So tell me, is this wrap really as effortless as they claim? And beyond just, having two free hands to doom scroll on my phone or whatever, what are the actual benefits of baby wearing?
Okay, first of all, I applaud your honesty about the doom scrolling. We've all been there.
Hey, a parent's got to get their screen time in somehow. But you're right, there's got to be more to it than just convenience, right?
Absolutely. It's not just about having your hands free, though that is a major perk, especially in those early months when they want to be held all the time. But there's a growing body of research showing that baby wearing has a ton of benefits for both babies and parents.
Like what? Give me the science.
Well, for starters, there's the power of skin-to-skin contact. Holding your baby close helps regulate their body temperature, their heart rate, even their breathing patterns.
It's like they're borrowing our calm, which, let's be real, we could all use a little more of in those early days.
Exactly. And it goes both ways. Skin-to-skin contact releases oxytocin, that feel-good hormone, in both the parent and the baby. It's like a biological bonding mechanism, reducing stress and promoting that sense of closeness.
Okay, I am here for the snuggles and the oxytocin boost. But I have to ask, what about the whole ergonomic thing? I always worry about hurting their little hips or spines or something if I'm not carrying them correctly.
That's such an important consideration, and you're right to be mindful of it. Not all baby carriers are created equal, and some can put unnecessary strain on a baby's developing body, especially if they're not positioned correctly.
So how do you know what to look for? Is there like a secret handshake for baby wearing?
Not quite a secret handshake, but there are definitely some key things to keep in mind. When choosing a carrier, whether it's a wrap, a sling, or one of those more structured carriers, you want to look for something that supports the baby's natural M shape.
Shape. Are they like dropping some knowledge on us while they're chilling in the wrap?
Something like that. Basically, their knees should be higher than their hips, with their bottoms slightly tucked and their back gently curved. And you want a carrier that distributes their weight evenly across your body, so you're not putting too much strain on your back or shoulders.
Okay, that makes sense. It sounds like it's worth doing your research and maybe even like getting some expert guidance to make sure you're using the carrier safely and comfortably.
Absolutely. There are actually baby-wearing consultants who can help you find the right carrier for your body type and your baby's age and stage, and they can show you how to use it correctly.
Baby wearing consultants. Who knew? I'm adding that to the mental Rolodex.
All right, moving on from snuggles to sustenance. The last must-have on our list is all about feeding time. And get this, the blog actually recommends, wait for it, dot baby bottles.
Shocking, right?
I know, revolutionary.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, they specifically call out the Phillips event, baby bottles and nipples, highlighting the whole BPA-free thing, different nipple flow rates, even anti-colic valves. And I got to say, even as a non-parent, I know there are like a gazillion bottle options out there.
Yeah.
So help me out what actually matters. Okay, you're right. The bottle aisle can be completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
Let's start with the BPA-free part. BPA stands for bisphenol A, and it's a chemical found in some plastics that can leach into food and drinks, especially when heated.
Okay, and that's bad. Why?
There's been a lot of research on BPA, and while the jury's still out on the long-term effects, some studies suggest there might be a link between early exposure to BPA and developmental issues. So it's best to err on the side of caution and choose BPA-free bottles, which thankfully most manufacturers offer these days.
Got it. BPA free. Check.
Yeah.
What about all those different nipple shapes and flow rates? Is there like a secret decoder ring? I need to figure that out.
I wish. It really comes down to finding what works best for your baby. Some babies are perfectly happy with a standard nipple shape, while others might prefer a wider base or a specific texture.
So it's kind of a trial and error thing.
It can be. And as your baby grows, their sucking strength and coordination improves, so you might need to adjust the nipple flow rate accordingly.
Makes sense. Start slow, work your way up to the super drinker nipple.
Exactly. And you mentioned anti-colic valves. Colic is basically a catch-all term for excessive crying in babies, often attributed to gas and digestive discomfort.
Oh yeah, the dreaded witching hour. Every new parent's worst nightmare. So these special bottles actually help with that.
Some parents swear by them. The idea is that the valves help reduce the amount of air babies swallow while feeding, which in theory could lead to less gas and fussiness.
So less air in, happier tummy, happier baby, happier life. Sounds like a win-win to me.
You'd think so, right? But like most things baby-related, there's no guarantee. Some babies might benefit from those anti-colic features, while others don't seem to notice a difference. It really is about finding what works best for your little one.
So trial and error it is, which honestly feels like a theme when it comes to babies. So much trial and error. Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. From baby monitors that practically require an instruction manual to like the intricacies of baby boogers and bottle nipples.
It's a crash course in baby gear for sure.
Yeah, it really is. So as we get ready to wrap things up, what are some key takeaways our listeners should keep in mind? Because let's be real, it's easy to get swept up in the excitement and maybe a little panic of preparing for a new baby.
Absolutely. And the baby industry definitely thrives on that.
Oh, 100%. Like, do I need a special sponge to wash baby bottles? Probably not. But they'll try to convince you otherwise.
Right. But in all seriousness, I think the most important takeaway is this. You don't need every gadget on the market to be a good parent.
Preach. Sometimes simpler is better.
Exactly. Focus on the essentials, a safe sleep space for your baby, nourishing food, and most importantly, your love and attention.
That's what it really boils down to, right?
It really does. All the other stuff, the gadgets, the gizmos, those are just extras. Don't get so caught up in having the perfect nursery setup that you forget to enjoy those precious moments with your little one.
Love that prioritize connection over consumption. Although a good white noise machine never hurt anyone.
True, a little white noise can be a lifesaver. But you get the idea.
I do. And on that note, I think we've given our listeners a lot to ponder. We've dissected the ins and outs of smart baby products, from the practical to the just plain extra.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. But before we say goodbye, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. At the end of the day, the most valuable thing you can give your baby is your time, your love, and those moments of genuine connection. You got this, new parents.
And don't forget to take care of yourselves, too.
Yes. Self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. All right. On that note, this has been another deep dive. Until next time, happy parenting, everyone.